Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Northern Kentucky Spotlight Podcast, powered by CKREU. I'm your host, Sarah Brookbank. We have a great guest on the podcast today. I am joined by Jill Morenz of Aviatra Accelerators. She talks about being named the Women's Initiative Annual Breakfast Nonprofit Recipient and shares how you can get involved with the organization. Thank you to our podcast sponsors, CKREU, Google and Amazon advertising experts. Now let's go hear from our sponsor, meet our members of the week, and I'll be back with Jill.
Ranking on Google Search and Maps is easy to understand, but hard to do. It requires constant effort and attention, uploading new photos, responding to Google reviews, writing weekly posts, and checking suggested updates. Google listing optimization takes experience and time, and there are no shortcuts. CKREU gives your Google My Business account the steady, consistent attention it needs to be effective, optimizing, updating, and expanding critical content every single week. From local retail stores to large regional networks, CKREU generates content, establishes benchmarks, and creates dramatic, measurable increases in engagement. So what can CKREU do for your business? More calls, more clicks, more clients.
Congratulations to our members of the week. You can learn more about these businesses by following the Northern Kentucky Chamber on social media, where we highlight one of these businesses each day. Now, let's meet our members of the week. Orange Theory Newport combines full-body strength training with heart-pumping cardio to help you build strength now while laying the foundation for long-term health. DCCH Center provides a safe place for abused and neglected children to live and heal. Hampton Inn & Suites Newport Cincinnati is the first Hampton by Hilton in Newport and a welcoming sight for travelers entering Newport. Kate's Catering and Personal Chef Services takes outstanding service and quality food seriously. Located in the heart of Union, Club Pilates is a modern, welcoming studio dedicated to empowering the community through mindful movement and strength. Hi, everyone. Today on the podcast, I have Jill Morenz of Aviatra Accelerators. Welcome back to the podcast, Jill.
Thanks so much.
I am so excited to have you on. We are having you on. You guys were just announced the Women's Initiative Annual Breakfast Nonprofit Recipient. Congratulations.
Thank you. We're so thrilled. I think the visibility, just standing in front of that room full of, 800, 900 people is going to be just such incredible energy and opportunity for us to, share what we do.
Yeah, and that is such an honor, and we are so excited to have you and be a part of that. In years past, we've done the Children's Law Center, Dress for Success, Cincinnati. Now you guys, just really great organizations doing a lot of great work for women in our community. Obviously, that is your bread and butter, much like many of our other nonprofit recipients. So for people that don't know Aviatra, I'm sure a lot of our viewers and listeners do. Tell us a little bit about you guys.
Sure. So we just last year celebrated our 15-year anniversary, so that's fun. We were founded and we continue to do this. We help women entrepreneurs start their businesses, grow them, and then get them connected to funders. Mm-hmm. So anywhere we kind of say like from idea to maybe about $200,000 in revenue, where we kind of fit in there.
Yeah, and I love that. And you guys are working with so many different women across the area. You guys have that beautiful space in Covington. And you guys, that's recent. You guys just did a lot of work there. How has it been since you guys opened that new space?
So we love it. So our office in Covington on Pike Street, we've been there since 2016. But then, as you mentioned, just a little bit about almost a year and a half ago, we expanded into the space next door to us to have the incubator. Mm-hmm. So we have below market rate office space for women, co-working for women, women-owned businesses. Like they could be men, but they work for the women. Yeah. And then we have event space to rent, and we have some retail space, some pop-up retail space. We have Poor Charlotte's bookstore in there right now. And so that's been really fun. We love having the space. I think we could grow it. I think there's a lot of room, opportunity to grow. Like we still have a couple of offices that are currently, well, not still, but again, available. And so anybody who's looking for below market rate offices, let us know.
Yeah, call Jill to get there in Covington. And just like such a fun, nice area. Yeah, one of the things I know you really wanted to talk about is how businesses and people in the community can get involved with Aviatra. Yeah. You guys have a lot of opportunities.
We do.
So tell us a little bit about the opportunities you guys have.
Okay, thanks. We have our programming. We have classes and coaching and we have a membership community. And we, as I mentioned, we have programs and support from the very beginning to, kind of when you're getting ready to scale. And so business people in the community can help us in a bunch of different ways. Plug in by teaching for us, potentially providing coaching or mentorship, by donating and sponsoring. We have lots of sponsorship opportunities, so that's a great way to get involved. And I think just, referrals, like if you know somebody who's kind of early in their business, or a woman is thinking about starting her business, send us over. We always start with a free coaching session, brainstorming with them, like giving them resources, and then, fit them into programs if there's a good fit. So referrals are just so welcome.
Yeah, and you guys are touching businesses at all stages.
Yeah.
When you're thinking about how, like, business leaders specifically, we have a lot of leaders that listen to this podcast. You mentioned that mentorship.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that leaders need to know?
I think sharing their own, it's not just sharing the success stories, but sharing the ups and downs. Entrepreneurship is a little bit of a roller coaster sometimes, and sharing the resilience stories, I think, are really, really helpful. We have an event that we do twice a month. It's called Real Talk. So it's just real talk, like talking about the real things that are happening, concerns or ideas, challenges that are happening in women's businesses and in their lives. And then everybody else kind of, gives their ideas and their feedback and support. And so coming to a Real Talk, even if you aren't a business owner, if you're just a woman in corporate, or you're retired or whatever, just coming there and sharing your thoughts on, we call it, instead of calling it the hot seat, we call it the sweet seat. So whoever's on the sweet seat, sharing your ideas and your own lessons that you've learned in your life is really, really helpful, and it's really fun. So,
yeah. And I love all the events you guys do. I know you guys had a Galentine's Day event in February, and you guys have some other things coming up. The Women-Owned Business Crawl is happening again this spring. Tell me a little bit about that. I stumbled upon that. I knew it was happening, totally forgot, ended up in Covington, and stumbled into the Women-Owned Business Crawl last spring, and had so much fun with my sister-in-law. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, you can stumble into it, or you can plan to go.
So you should plan ahead of time.
So it's in April in Covington, and it's there are, in our area, the downtown and Main Strasse area, areas in Covington, there's more than 40 women-owned businesses there.
Yeah, wow.
So we get a lot of them on the, like 30 to 35 businesses participating in the crawl. So somebody buys a ticket, and then they get this map and to all the participating locations, and then every location has an exclusive discount that they give to the ticket holders. Mm-hmm. And so you get a wristband, and you go in, and if you plan it right, you can check in, go get lunch with a discount, go shopping with a discount, go to dinner with a discount, go get drinks with a discount. So it's really fun, and the check-in period is from 11 to 4, but the discounts last all the rest of the day. Mm-hmm. So you don't have to hurry to, if you want to go out to dinner with a discount or something. And it's just such a fun way to explore, the downtown Covington. It's always changing, and actually like walk into these businesses that you may never have even known were there.
Yeah, and that was one of the things that we discovered. We did the embroidery shop in Covington. We walked in, and I actually got a hat out of the bag. It's a dad hat, and it was my summer hat this year. So
fun,
very fun, very exciting. And you guys do so many different things all through the year. Like you said, you guys are doing classes. You guys are working with businesses. When you look at 2026, what's the future looking like for this year?
Yeah, it's really exciting. So we're continuing to try to grow the incubator. But I think and another thing, we have had this membership community for several years, but we added a new tier for women who are making at least $50,000 a year in their business, and it just provides a lot of additional support and mastermind. So that's the cohort supporting the other members, and it's actually not cohort based, but the members are supporting each other, and more coaching support from us, and we're really hoping to grow that, because up until really this, we haven't had that many offerings for women who are kind of past the stage, of like, okay, I'm doing well, I can live off of what I make, right?
Yeah.
We haven't had really anything to offer, which is fine, because there's a lot in our region to pass them off to. But we felt that this new membership tier, which is called VIP, which stands for Vision, Income, and Power. We felt that filled a gap here in our region.
Yeah.
And so, we're launching that. So we're hoping to grow that for sure, and then continue growing our programs.
Yeah, that's so exciting. I know it's going to be a big year for you all. And you mentioned that ecosystem.
Yes.
Tell me a little, because it's growing, it's changing.
Yeah.
What are you guys have been here for so long. You guys are, like an established part of this community. What's this ecosystem, this startup ecosystem looking like in Northern Kentucky right now?
Well, with Spark House opening, very exciting. Spark House is part of the ecosystem that supports businesses that have high growth potential. Mm-hmm. So it could be, something manufacturing, could be tech enabled, things that have the possibility, the potential to really grow quickly. Mm-hmm. Investors, for example, might be really interested in those businesses. And so that's who they serve, and they connect them with funding and people and, help and all of that sort of, assistance that they need, business owners like that. And then there's Aviatra, and we're really focusing on, the early stage businesses, the product-based services, health and wellness, food and beverage. Mm-hmm. And so that part is, also important, right? There's the high growth, but then there's also like just the businesses that you walk by, like on the Wob Crawl, right? The businesses that are on the crawl. And then we have the Incubator Kitchen Collective in Newport, which is for food businesses. It's a shared kitchen that they don't have to rent their own or set up their own, commercial kitchen. They can rent space in one. And so that's another part of our ecosystem here. And then, of course, we have Startup Cincy and all the things across the river. So it's a really robust ecosystem. And I think there's not that much overlap. So it's kind of exciting. Once you find where your place is, and then you work with that, and then we're ready to hand you off to the next thing. It's really fun to be part of that ecosystem here.
Yeah, I absolutely love that and love learning more about it and seeing the space in Northern Kentucky grow and all the great work you guys are doing. Yeah. But Jill, it has been wonderful to have you on the podcast. I always love having you. Before I let you go, anything else our viewers and listeners need to know about what's going on at Aviatra right now?
Well, so we're launching our own podcast. I'm hoping to give you some tips. So it's kind of aligned with our VIP membership tier. So it's called the VIP Entrepreneur. And the Vision, Income, and Power pillars are what we talk about, because we really think that if you're going to reach your bold income goals, you need a very clear vision and you need to embrace your own personal powers. And so that's what we talk about every week is vision, income, and power, one of those things. And so really excited to launch that this month, perhaps by the time this airs.
Yes, and so we will be tuning into that podcast and this podcast. Jill, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you to our Investors Circle members. Our Investors Circle members help us promote and support the development of strong businesses and a vibrant economy in the Northern Kentucky region. Thank you to all of these members for their investment, which will help the Northern Kentucky Chamber of Commerce in our mission to develop and grow a thriving business community. Northern Kentucky needs tailored solutions to address our housing shortage. Home for All, Northern Kentucky Housing Strategies, explores how we can retain young adults, help older residents downsize or age in place, and ensure new neighbors have housing options that fit their lives. Dive into the report at housingNKY.org. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed hearing from Jill about Aviatra on today's episode of the podcast. Like we mentioned, Aviatra was named the nonprofit recipient, and we are so excited to celebrate them at the Women's Initiative Annual Breakfast powered by PNC. You can still register to join us on the morning of Tuesday, March 3rd at Turfway Park Racing and Gaming for annual breakfast. You can register at nkychamber.com/events. Don't miss out on this. It is a great, impactful morning. Thank you once again to our podcast sponsors, CKREU, Google and Amazon advertising experts. And finally, if you are a member who would like to be featured on the podcast, or if you're someone who is interested in becoming a member of the Northern Kentucky Chamber of Commerce, please reach out to Lynn Ablin. And if you're a member who would like to share your workforce strategies and resources on our Talent Strategies Spotlight, please reach out to Nancy Spivey. You can find their contact information on the screen if you're a viewer, and our listeners can find that at nkychamber.com/staff. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll talk to you guys next week.